and welcome back. If this is your first time, I hope you'll stay. Espero que te quedes. So this video is a correction of your work that you did in class. So the topic was going on holiday with your family, and so you had to write an essay to talk about it, what you did, just all about your holiday. So, mis vacaciones en familia. That was your topic, okay? And I've noted down the 6 mistakes that came up when correcting. So, go through them, but on your own, now for just a moment, and try and figure out if you know what those mistakes are. So the first one we have is, era mi primer tiempo visitando España. Next we have, nos fuimos de vacaciones en el 2 de agosto. Number 3 we have, encontré mucha gente nueva. Then we had, number 4, mi hermano y yo tuvimos argumentos muy malos. And number 5, it just dawned on me. I pronounced it a bit Spanish with English because that's what it is. It's a literal translation of what we would say. Chicos, por favor, un poco menos ruido, por favor. Gracias. Tuvimos un tiempo bueno. This, I'm a little bit annoyed about this because we've seen this one time and time again. So I'm going to take a moment and we're going to revise this one. Okay, and the last one, no tuve un abrigo porque no pensé que no era frío. Pensé que no era frío ahí, pero estaba muy frío en las noches. Try and figure them out. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes, okay? Or just pause the video and try and see if you can fix them yourself. Okay, can you correct them? Do you know what needs correcting? Okay, the first question, era mi primer tiempo, is something that we have an issue with because time in Spanish is expressed with 2 different words. There's a word you might have seen which is vez, which means time. Think of time more as the weather, or the weather. Think of the weather as time, or if you want to say I don't have time, no tengo tiempo, in that way. But when you want to talk about a moment that you had and you want to remember that moment in time, the word that you would use is vez. So it should be, era mi primera vez. Era mi primera vez. So tiempo is out, and you really must be careful with these 2 words. It's an expression, mi primera vez. To talk about a first time, not tiempo at all. Okay? Era mi primera, and an A on the end because vez is feminine. Era mi primera vez visitando España. Okay? So fixing the tiempo with changing it to ve would be correct. Okay, and you're not the only person who's made this mistake. As English speakers, we tend to make this mistake when we are just starting to study Spanish, okay? And I'm only pointing this out, and I always do this. I always go through the mistakes that we make. So seeing them on video means that we don't keep making the same mistakes time and time again, okay? So to talk about your first time doing something, or the times you've done something, lo he hecho muchas veces, okay? I've done it many times, okay? We wouldn't use tiempo, okay? Tiempo, to talk about the actual hour, okay? Tienes el tiempo ahí, o es tiempo de irnos, okay? Es la hora de irnos. We wouldn't even really say it there. So we sometimes struggle with that word. Mi primera vez, my first time. Use vez instead of tiempo, okay? Because that's just a literal translation of what we would use in English. Okay, next one. Nos fuimos de vacaciones en el 2 de agosto. Now, what you've done here is you've done the same thing again. You've used the English expression, the English structure of saying the 2nd of August. We will say the 2nd of August, and you're not wrong. Word for word, it is el 2 de agosto. But you don't say this in Spanish, right? You would say el día 2. Okay, you would say the 2nd. The 2nd of August would be el día 2 de agosto. And August does not have a capital A, unlike our language where we put months and weekdays, days of the week with a capital letter. In Spanish, this does not apply. So you would have aquí minúscula, okay, so lowercase. So instead of capital letters for the months, lowercase letters. So it will be nos fuimos de vacaciones el día, so we get rid of N, because we would say on the 2nd of August, but Spanish people would say el día 2 de agosto. Okay, so moving on to number 3. Encontré mucha gente nueva. So I met a lot of new people. This is obviously important when you go on holiday. It's really nice to meet people, especially from the country you're visiting. You know, I'm all for meeting new friends and widening your network of people. Absolutely. However, this is not the verb you would use. Encontrar does mean meet. It does. But to say that you've met someone, so to meet someone for the first time, the word you would use is, and encontrar also means find, okay? Also means to find. Encontré 10 euros, okay? I found 10 euros. You would use that in that sense. But when you want to say that you've met someone, the verb you would use is conocer, which is to meet someone, yes? To know them, to get to know them, conocer. So, I would change that to conocí a mucha gente nueva, okay? So it's encontrar, it's conocer a gente nueva, okay? So don't forget that preposition as well. Conocer a gente nueva, okay? Not encontrar. Encontrar is to find somebody, okay? Though it does mean to meet as well, but it's more to meet up, okay? Me encontré a Raúl en el parque. So I ran into Raúl in the park. So it's that sort of meet, okay? When you sort of meet somebody accidentally, if you like. Right, okay, this one I really like because I understood immediately what it meant because my first language is English. But perhaps for a Spanish person reading this, it would not be so clear. Mi hermano y yo tuvimos argumentos muy malos. So my brother and I had very bad arguments. So we argued a lot. I think that's what you meant to say, that you argued a lot, you had bad arguments. But here, argument is one of those false friends, you know, that, you know, it trips us up. Argumento is more the storyline of a book or a film. El argumento iba de whatever, the argument, the storyline was about such and such a thing. So it's a false friend. What you're looking for, the word for argument, like a verbal argument, is discusión, okay? Una discusión. Tuve una discusión muy fuerte con mi pareja. I had a really bad argument with my partner. Okay, discusión. Mi hermano y yo tuvimos argumentos muy malos. I would change that to, and this is for me, I'm not saying this is the only way you can do this. You can always reword, and everyone is going to reword in a different way. I'm saying me personally, I personally would reword it as, my brother and I discutimos mucho. So we argued a lot. I would use the verb discutir, which is to argue. I would say, mi hermano y yo discutimos mucho. Discutimos mucho. And if you don't want to change it, if you want to use the noun discusión, which is argument, you could say, mi hermano y yo tuvimos muchas discusiones. Okay? You could say muchas discusiones. Muchas discusiones fuertes. Rather than bad, I would say fuertes. But that's just me personally. Okay? I just think it sounds better. Okay? But I would not leave argumentos here because it's confusing. Okay? Number 5. Tuvimos un tiempo bueno. This again goes back to the first one where we confuse the word time. Okay? Tuvimos un tiempo bueno. If I translate that word for word, it makes sense in my English speaking mind. Okay? We had a good time. We did. It makes sense to me, it makes sense to you, it makes sense to everyone who is English speaking, learning Spanish at the moment, or at the level where we are, where there's still a lot to learn. So, tuvimos un tiempo bueno, I'm going to give you an expression that I want you to jot down. So stop what you're doing, and you're going to write this down 5 times. So we don't commit this mistake. I've been here too long. We commit this mistake. Make this mistake. You see, they say that a lot in Spanish. Cometer un error. To make a mistake. Guys, I'm virtually Spanish now. Yeah. That happens sometimes, okay? Tuvimos un tiempo bueno. It should be. This is an expression I want you to write down. Write it down 5 times. That's an order. Write it down 5 times, minimum. Okay? Lo pasamos genial. We had a marvelous time with it. Okay? Lo pasamos. Oh, you didn't have to put an exclamation mark if you don't want. Lo pasamos genial. We had a great time. Fantastic time. So that is it for that one. Now the last one that I have, which is quite good, it was quite long, and so I was impressed that this sentence was so elongated. I was impressed for that. I was really impressed. But instead of saying, no tuve un abrigo porque pensé que no era frío, a few mistakes there in that sentence. And that happens sometimes when we're not really at a really high level and we try to say a lot in one clause. Okay, so this is where we made the mistake. Okay, so it should be, no tuve mi abrigo porque, I would say pensaba, because it wasn't just a moment, pensaba, I thought that it wasn't going to be cold there. Era, I know we would say to be cold, but in Spanish the expression is hacer frío. So because the expression is hacer frío, to be cold, you have to apply it everywhere. Okay? So pensaba que no iba a hacer frío, no hacía frío, no hacía frío. Que no hacía frío, because as I said, you have to conjugate the verb to be, to have. Is to have frío, have cold, literally. Que no hacía frío ahí. So I thought it wasn't cold there. So pensaba here, so it sort of goes in line with the same tense, okay? Pero estaba muy frío. So you're going to put again here, hacía mucho frío. Okay? Hacía, hacía mucho frío en las noches, which is at night, in the night, translates it in the night, but in Spanish you would say por las noches. So we get rid of en and we put por. So, no tuve mi abrigo porque pensaba que hacía frío allí, pero hacía mucho frío. Instead of muy, mucho. Mucho. Hacía mucho frío por las noches. So por las noches instead of en las noches, because that's a time expression you need to learn. Por las noches, por las mañanas, okay, and so on. Por instead of en, por las noches. No tuve mi abrigo porque pensaba que no hacía frío ahí, pero hacía mucho frío por las noches. So those are the corrections that you need to make sure that you learn for this assignment, and I hope that this will be useful for other students also. So with that, I'm going to leave you, and do not forget to let me know what other topics you'd like me to cover, okay? And until next time, adios chicos, adios.